So give the guy in the pink tie up here.
You have to feel comfortable about a pink tie.
Well, you'll understand in a minute when I read Bible. So Kenny Parcell is a good friend and one of us, which is nice. He's one of us equity people, and that's what's so intriguing. I always, when I called Kenny and says, hey, what do you want me to read about you? He sent me like over this big book. I couldn't carry it down. So I just thought I'd print one off of the archive, and then I shortened it, and then that's going to be okay. So. But no, honestly, Kenny, he's a native of Orem. Kenny played football for that school I will not mention.
Oh, BYU!
It's kind of like Baltimore. You know? I mean, I just can't do that. Kenny played football down there. And he also received his real estate license when he was in school down there. So, Kenny's been a licensed realtor for over 16 years and has sold over 1,500 homes. This guy gets it done. And he's walked through over 15,000 homes. So apparently his closing ratio needs a little work. But Kenny's achieved many things through his real estate career. Mostly he served as a liaison, information, communication, and professional development for the National Association of Realtors. They get that all in one tag?
I guess so.
Yeah, that's nice. In 2013, and has served as the 2013 as the Utah County Association. Were you the president then, or the state president?
I was the state president in 2011.
11. Gosh, you're old. So that's good. Kenny's one of my favorite people because if anybody knows a little dance I do around here, sorry, it's my Remax dance, because Kenny and I used to be Remax people. So whenever anybody joins us for Remax, I always do the Remax dance. You know,
Don't ever do that again.
I paid them so much. Hey, there's another Remax guy. So. But he's a recipient of the Remax Lifetime Achievement Award, a Remax Hall of Fame inductee, Utah Association Realtor of the Year last year, and in the top 30 under 30. When did they publish that?
A long time ago.
Okay. And he is an avid supporter of RPAC, so he might have a couple of things to say about that. So most of the days, Kenny does a lot. I mean, he sells that many homes, and he does most of his time traveling. How many? 50 weeks this year?
I don't even want to know.
That's a lot. We always ask Kenny where he is. He just texts us. I'm here, and then I'm over here, and then I'm over here. So he's all over. But if he's not there, he's on his Harley, or as I found out yesterday, a broken down snowmobile in the middle of the mountains.
Very grateful to be here today.
Yeah. I saw that, and I was like, I wonder if he's going to be here or not. So his wife's name is Heather, and they're proud parents of 4 beautiful kids: Kelsey, Kate, Mikhail, and Wyatt. Right?
Yes, sir.
So anyway, not waste any more time. I'd like to introduce Kenny Parcell.
Please not let Tony do that dance again. That does concern
Didn't say I was good at it.
That does concern me. So by the show of hands, let's say who's been in the business you think the longest? Ed, how many years?
Going on 40.
Anybody over 40 in here? 40 years? Who's been in the business the shortest amount of time, do you think? We're talking weeks or maybe months. Anybody? Preston, how long?
60 days.
60 days. Anybody less than 60 days? Wow, what a good group. How many, by the show of hands, how many is this is your last profession that you'll ever have? And I hope that is everyone. How many people are part-time? And it's okay, how many people are part-time? That's great, we're going to talk to you today about that. So I just came from, so it's true, last year I was in 31 different states on behalf of the owners. And it's a lot, and we still sold a lot of homes. In fact, I will introduce my team since they're here today because they're the ones doing all the heavy lifting. So Eric Moss over there, that handsome little guy, and Beth Wilding, and Preston, and Jeff. These guys were the ones that carried so much of the load for me last year. But a few weeks ago, I was in Atlantic City. They do a thing called Triple Play. It's Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. It's a big convention. They get all the states. And when they come speak, a lot of times they'll ask me to double up with other organizations. So it might be the CCIM, the CRS. And so I had the Latino, they call it the Hispanic Association of Realtors. And asked me to speak as well. And so this nice two little Latino guys come up to me and they go, "Mr. Parcell, what is your fee for today?" And that's not the best accent, but that's what it sounded like. And I said, "Excuse me, a fee?" And they go, what we pay you?" And I said, "Oh, you don't need to pay me anything. I'm already here. I appreciate it." And they go, "No fee." And I said, "No fee." And he goes, "You sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." And the little guy next to me, like I wasn't even there, looks at me, looks at his friend and see no fee. Next year we save money and get better speaker. And, you haven't heard me speak, for heaven's sake. So anyway, thanks for being here. You know what? It's a big deal. You could be out on the ski slopes. You could be doing something with your family. You could be closing a deal, but you chose to invest a little bit of something about yourself, which is a big deal for y'all. I think sometimes realtors, we like what we want, but we don't want to invest any money in it. You know, we don't want to invest any time. We're kind of like our kids. They want to be the best soccer player, but don't want to do their soccer homework. You know, that's kind of how it works. So congratulations, kudos to you. Hopefully we'll give you a few things today that will help you in your business and life in general. And it is Kai's birthday today, and it's pretty neat that he's 30 years old. So Kai, thanks for all you do for us. So, and if you get a chance to see the equity staff, it's amazing how you just show up and everything, the chairs are done and this and that. But if you see those equity girls and staff, it's always good to give them a little thank you and give them a hug, because they really do a lot behind the scenes for us and make it so we can make a living. Congratulations on being part of the largest trade organization in the world. There's nothing more proud than to be a realtor, period. Doctors heal, dentists pull teeth, accountants do numbers, all the things we don't like to do. At the end of the day, guys, what we do, it's so much more than commission. We're about building communities. It's where people have dinner. It's where they spend time with their pets. It's time when they spend time with their grandkids. It's where you play with your family. It's where you pray with your family. We build communities. There is not a greater honor or a greater profession than what we do. I am 100% convinced there's nothing I'd rather do for a living than be a realtor. You help people make the very best decision in real estate. The biggest investment for 95% of most people is their home, and you help them decide what friends they're going to play with, what schools they're going to go to. It is an honor and privilege to do what you all do. So I hope when you wake up in the morning, it's not always about a commission. It's about blessing the lives of so many other people. It really is an honor and privilege. To top that off, I know every business model in this country. In 2012 had multiple offers, and they were great jobs, some within the state, some without. And you know what, I'm here, and I'm here for a reason. I believe if you're going to be part of a winning team, you have to be part of the winning organization. There's a reason why we're here at Equity. So there is no excuses why you cannot do well, and some of you that are part-time will want to go to full-time. From some of you that are making $50,000 that you can't go to $100,000. There is no excuses why you can't. You can get the benefits of a full-service brokerage for a minimal fee. There's profit sharing. There's opportunities to have some passive income. So kudos to you. Kudos for you to being a part of the best company in the world. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe it. And so with that, let me tell you how it all started for Kenny Parcell. Way back when, I did have a full head of hair and had a little broader shoulders and a little better shape, and played for the school down south that Tony doesn't like to call BYU. And my first year, freshman year, great experience. One of my best friends that played linebacker introduces me to my wife, my girlfriend at the time. And we dated a year and decided we were going to get married. Well, 3 years left of school, I had a full scholarship. Why rent? Why not go buy, right? Isn't that what you tell people do? So keep in mind, I grew up on the wrong side of town. My parents never graduated from high school. We are extremely poor. When I say poor, we went 2 years without hot water. Now that's a cold shower. When you have no hot water, that means there's no heat. So my friends always made fun of me that I was always trying to shower at school after practice and then walking in the snowstorm. They're like, why don't you just shower at home? And I'm like, I'd rather have the shower here. They didn't know that we didn't have hot water. So I come from a poor side of town. Athletics got me out. And so, you know what? My parents aren't educated, so what did and this is before Google for some of you young folks. I know that's hard to imagine. But there was no Google back in the day. And we talked to my parents, and they said, well, I think this lady does real estate. So we call her up, and it was the absolute worst experience you could ever imagine as a realtor. The absolute worst. The only thing good she did is she got us, sent us to a lender, and we got pre-qualified. We only qualified for 5 homes in the county. My wife was getting her MBA. I'm a football player. And this is how it works. She goes, Kenny, you have great people skills. I'm super busy. Talk your way into any house you want to see. Let me know what you want to buy. And that's how it went. So I'd knock on the door, talk my way in, see a house, come back, call her and say, you know, hey, we want to make an offer. She'd say, great. And so we'd go there to sign it. It was already filled out, full price. And I said, can we offer less? And she goes, no. And I go, why not? What happens? Explain the process. And she goes, well, you can. And I go, well, have you ever been in the house? And she goes, no. And I said, well, how do you know? You know, let's just try offering less. And she goes, okay, well, let's try. So sure enough, we offer less, and guess what? They accept our offer. No walkthrough, no seller disclosures, no nothing. We just didn't know, guys. We were that naive. We just didn't know. So what do? We close, get married, go on our honeymoon. Come back, the keys are hid, we walk in, and guess what? The good white refrigerator is replaced by the old lime green one that didn't work. Garage door taken, air conditioner taken, the kitchen cabinet, the uppers, they left the bottom, but the uppers they took. So what do? We call her and say, hey, we have a problem. You know, this is on a Saturday, I have 2-a-days starting on Monday. And I say, we have a problem. And she basically just said, look, I didn't make a lot of money because you didn't qualify for enough. And kind of just gave us the finger, to be honest with you. And said, that's it. You know, good luck. And so for the first 3 months of us being married, guess what? We lived out of an ice box. We had a cooler, and I had 2-gallon jugs of water, and I would take them into the training facilities at BYU, and I'd put them in the freezer. When I'd go home, I'd take them back in the morning, and I'd alternate. Because my parents had no money to help buy for a refrigerator. We thought we were living large when we got the little $125 refrigerator that actually kept my milk cold. So that's how it started with real estate. Horrible experience. Guess what? I play 2 more years, I get what's mono. It's I lost 20 pounds, dirt poor, and I take what's called a medical. That's where they pay your schooling and then you no longer have to play. And so I see a little teeny classified ad. Believe it or not, before Google and before KSL classified, they did have papers that had little classified ads, and it said, you want to sell real estate? And I called them while I was going to school, got my exam, got licensed. From there, I write a paper about my experience about real estate in family science class. Now, if we have any BYU fans out there, any BYU, thank you. There are a few.
I'm getting their name.
We are the minorities. 1,500 students. It's a big auditorium. 1,500 students. I write my paper about real estate in family science class. I turn it in, and guess what? The phone rings that night. And when believe it or not, we were poor, but we had free caller ID. And I see the caller ID, and it's Dr. Smith calling the house. Which for me means I cheated or plagiarized. It's never a good sign when the professor calls you. Let's call it what it is. And I look at my wife and I'm telling her not to answer. And she answers anyway. She goes, yes, Kenny's right here. And so I'm like, so I pick up the phone and she goes, you know what, you won't believe this. I never read papers because I have TAs, but my TA's sick, and I was scrolling through some of the papers and I read yours. I'm taking a job transfer at Ball State. I need to sell my house. And I go, oh, you know, that's nice. You know, as growing up as a kid, I sold frogs, I sold night crawlers, I sold cherries. I sold everything under the sun. I knew I finally arrived when I was 6. I'd go pick the neighbor's cherries, and that was before Ziploc baggies, and I'd do the little sandwich bags in time, and I'd put them in my little Red Ryder wagon, and I'd go from door to door and sell cherries. And I knew I finally arrived one day when I had 3 bags of cherries left, and I went back and I sold her, the lady that I was picking her cherries, I sold her 3 bags of cherries. She bought them from me. So I knew I was going to arrive. So I told her this, and I said, look, I've just done all these things, but I don't know that I'm really selling real estate. I don't know that I'm a realtor. And she goes, never mind. I'll see you tomorrow at 4. And I went over there, and I swear, I don't know what kind of a listing presentation it was, and she had a stack of business cards from people she had interviewed, and I gave her my best sales pitch, and I swear to you, I'd never even read the listing agreement. And she goes, you know what? You're my guy, let's sign it up. And so I looked through my paper, and I'm like, all right, where do you put the date here and there? I guess I buffaloed it, and I had her sign, and it was the most incredible experience. I'm turning in my papers at school, and I'm saying, oh, by the way, we have a home inspection tonight. And my classmates are looking at me saying, what the hell are you doing? And I go, I'm selling Dr. Smith's house. And they go, no, you can't. And I said, I don't know if I can or I can't. And I was negotiating, you know, and I was just being sarcastic when I said this. I said, look, if I think I can get you this extra $5,000, I think I can. Is that worth a little bit of an extra credit for school? And she's like, well, technically no, but yeah, you give me that extra $5,000. I did pull an A out of that class, probably the only A I ever pulled at school. But sold her house. So guess what happens? She referred me to 2 professors who referred me to 2 professors. Now, if you ever walked on campus at BYU, it is a zoo. And this is, nobody likes to park there. So what I was doing, I was leaving my other classes 10 minutes early, and they had these little free courtesy phones. Believe it or not, this is before cell phones or pagers. But I would get out of class 10 minutes early. I'd call my other professor clients and say, hey, I'll run this by. And they're so like, no, you never want to park on campus. It's not good. You got to walk so much. I go, oh, no, I'll just bring it by. And they're like, no, you really don't. And I'm like, no, I'll just bring it by. And the whole time they're like, this Kenny Parcell, he's all about service. He's coming up on campus, walking around. Nobody wants to see me because nobody ever knew I was just a college kid. When they asked me how long you've been doing this, I'd look them dead in the eye and say, you know what? It feels like forever and a day. It's true. I mean, it felt like it was forever and a day. I didn't say I just got my license 4 or 5 months ago. But refer me to 2 professors who referred me to 2 professors. It was important. My parents never graduated from high school. It was important for me to finish. So I graduate from college, I'm sending out my resume, everybody wants to hire me, but by this time I'm making a 6-figure income as a college kid. And so I was getting all these different job offers for $25,000 and $30,000 and $32,000, and I'm like, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. So when I say this is truly my only profession and why I love it so much, it is because this is my truly only profession I've ever had. This is what I do. It has changed my life. I have more friends than I could ever imagine I'd have. If you ever need somebody with a referral in any city across the country, and Steve or any of the guys will text me, and I'll text you within 5 minutes and say, here's your realtor in this part of town, they'll take care of you. I've made more money than I've ever could imagine I'd make from the poor kid from the west side of Orem. I am extremely blessed. So why am I so passionate about what I do? It's because it's been so good to me. And I believe in what we do. And I believe in our company. And so I thought I'd give you today, and we'll save it for a couple question and answers, but I thought I'd give you 10 leadership principles that I believe will help you in work, in your life, in all aspects. I think they're fundamentally sound. I believe in them. If you live by these 10 principles, it will change your life if you allow it to. Truth number 1, trust yourself. If you do not believe in yourself, who is going to believe in you? Who is going to believe in you? If you walk out of the door and you do not believe in what you're going to do for the day, how do you expect somebody to believe in you? It sounds simple. You must talk to people, and then you finally need to make the jump. You take a Brady Long, for example. Started in his basement. Unfinished, I believe, Brady. Was it finished or unfinished?
Unfinished. Concrete floor, studs, and a lot of mouse food. Sorry, guys.
A lot of mouse dung. That's where he started. Brady had the vision to say, you know what, I want to do something better. The funny thing about Brady, guess what? He got to a certain point and said, you know what, I need to trust myself to bring some other people on. Guess what he does? He brings on Kai Pope and says, you know what, you're going to be the CEO because you're going to do some things to get there. And then what does he do? He brings on the hardest working lady that I know, in Kim, and says, you know what, I need you to now take it to the next level. You must trust yourself. If you take it back, and this is going to bother Tony, BYU never offered me a scholarship in high school. I'm poor. I've got to go where I can get money. Who gives me a scholarship? Coach Ron McBride up at the school up north. I won't say their name. The University of Utah. So you know what? Kenny Parcell's going to the University of Utah. That's where I'm going to school. I go to serve a mission for my church, and guess what? I'm in the mission office, and all of a sudden the phone rings, And it's Chris Pella, who was my recruiting coach at BYU, and says, hey, you know what, we had a rough year this last couple of years in the secondary. I think we have to BYU and not to you. You know what, that was a little soul search for me, and I spent a lot of time, and finally I said, you know what, I'm going to go where my gut tells me. I need to believe in my decision. And I go down to the school down south, which, why is that so important? I meet my wife there, I go to school, I bought a house. If I don't do those things, guess what? If I come up to the school up north, I don't do those things, and I'm not a realtor today, and who knows where I'm at. That party school, I'd have probably gone off the deep end. Yeah. You must trust yourself, period, guys. You must trust yourself. There are people in this room that want to go full-time that don't have enough heart in it yet to say, you know what, you must save, you must plan, you must figure it out, because you want to make that, you've got to do it. There's people in this room that want to branch out and join a team and make themselves better. There's got to come a point when you've got to make that plan and then believe in yourself and give it all you've got. Rule number 1, trust yourself. Number 2, break the rules. And I'm not saying drive down I-15 going 100 miles an hour and break the rules that way. There are opportunities for you to branch out and to do things that other people hadn't done. I was the first person to decide to go to a moving trailer. I have 5 of them now. They're 26 feet all enclosed. They have my name on them. You wouldn't believe the people that said that was the most stupid idea when I did that way back when. It was breaking the mold. You take a Troy Peterson that has 285 agents, that has a great life, that everybody says you can't have more than 50 people in your brokerage. You must trust yourself and then break the rules and do something different. I guarantee there's people in this room right now that have ideas, that think, what if I did this marketing campaign? What if I did this? But it hadn't been done before, so maybe I shouldn't do it. You've got to believe in yourself and break the rules. You all know the idea. If I'm telling you right now and you're thinking about it, go do it. Break the rule. Number 3, don't be afraid to fail. Some people don't try because they're afraid to fail. So it's better just to not do it than to try to fail. It's okay to fail at something. It is okay to not make it. We tell our kids that every day, right? They want to go out for the high school football team, and you say, go try. What's the worst going to happen? You're not going to make the team. But then ourselves, we're afraid to, oh, I can't go list in that area. I can't go and do this appointment. Because why? I'm afraid to do it. Does that ever happen? It happens all the time. Everybody's afraid to try to do something. Don't be afraid to fail. If I would have been afraid to fail, I'd have never listed the professor's home. My easy excuse was to tell her, no, I'm not qualified. I am dang lucky she was persistent enough to say, no, I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Don't be afraid to fail. Number 4, don't listen to the naysayers. Now, how many, I'm not going to ask you your score, but how many of you, by the show of hands, remember what you got on your ACT? There's a few of us. It is a proven fact. It is a proven fact that a monkey can get a 10. You have to have a 19 to get into a Division I school. I had a friend growing up who pulled a 6. He pulled a 6. Now, let me tell you a little something about this individual. We're sitting there, and his parents kind of abandoned him in high school because they got a divorce, and he'd kind of go from house to house. We're having dinner at my place one night, and dead serious, he's sitting there, and he goes, I've got to go say something to the Petersons across the way. And we go, what? And he goes, I've been losing sleep over it. It bothers me. And we go, bother you about what? And he goes, them adopting that Chinese baby. It pisses me off. I've got to clear the air. It's just not fair to either one of them. Now, the Chinese baby's 2 weeks old. And we go, well, what's the big deal, Bert? What's the big deal? And he goes, well, think about it. Think about it. He goes, I'm just going to go tell him. And we go, well, what? How are they even going to communicate? How they not fair to the adult, not fair to the child. And we looked at him and we said, you've been thinking about this for 2 days? And he goes, hell yeah. I mean, it's just not fair to the kid. Why he thought that they would just automatically speak Chinese, I don't know. We leave the house one day, and he's flipping the light switch right as we're leaving. On and off. On and off. It's like the first time somebody had electricity. On and off. On and off. Come back 45 minutes later, and we said, Bert, what are you doing? He says, right before you left, he goes, that damn fly was bothering me because I couldn't get it. So I've been memorizing its flight pattern, and I'm just turning the light off, and so when it runs in the wall, I'll get it. And I'm like, for 45 minutes, you've been doing the light switch, trying to memorize that fly's flight pattern. No way. The story is, we always told him how dumb he was growing up.
He played for the youth?
He probably went. Thank you, Ray. But here's the success story, guys. This guy is one of the top 10 pharmaceutical sales reps in the country right now. Chances are he makes more money than most people do in this room. He is extremely, extremely good at what he does. You cannot listen to the naysayers. There's always going to be people, and real estate is the absolute worst business. It's the very best business, but it's the worst, of somebody saying why you can't do something. It happens daily. It happens daily. Number 5, you need to work your butt off. There is no substitute for hard work. Muhammad Ali, when they said, how many sit-ups do you do a day? He goes, you know what, I don't know. I only start to count once they hurt. There is no substitute for hard work. You must set the example. I hope that everybody is working as hard as your kids think you work, or your grandkids, or your spouse, or your significant other. There is no substitute for hard work. The harder I work, the luckier I get. I don't know why that is, but it is true. You must work hard. This is a hard work business. It's not saying you can't take time off and enjoy life, but you must work hard. Nobody has ever had to tell me to get up at 4 in the morning when I need to get up at 4 in the morning. I know deep down inside what I need to do. My parents taught me first grade. I'm 6 years old. They sit me down, and they knew I had a little bit of a gift. I was playing all kinds of sports, and they said, it is not good enough for you to be as good as the rich kids, because we won't be buying the uniforms. You must outwork every kid out there, so when it comes down to it, you will play, because if not, you will not play. They will always pick the rich kid. So for you all, you must outwork your competitors. You must outwork anybody you deal with. You've got to put the time in. Get up early. If you want to go to your kids' game, go to your kids' game. You must have a life outside of real estate. But you know what? If you know you have so much work, sacrifice and get up earlier so you can be home at 4. You must work your butt off. Number 6, give back and train your replacement. Now, I went to school with a gentleman in high school, and his name's Dana Wilson. If you go on Facebook, befriend him, it'll make his day. He got ran over when he was a child. When I was 17, he was 24, still in high school. We got married. He kept coming through the reception line because every time he went through the line, he could get more food. And he's big, bushy beard, and he doesn't look nice, and he walks wherever he goes. And he walks with a big overcoat because when you get caught in a rainstorm and you're 5 miles out, you get wet. When he comes through our wedding reception, he hands me a card, and as young, poor kids, we went that night on the hotel bed. We were going through the card, seeing how much money and Elvis. His name's Dana, but he sings Elvis songs. He's not very good at it. Don't tell him. But we said, look what Elvis gave. He gave us $10. And we thought that was nice. 3 weeks later, we see him walking. I'm coming home from campus, and I pick up Elvis. I'm giving him a ride home, and I said, Dana, tell us what you're doing now. And he goes, I'm helping my mom watch children, which is a little scary thought in itself. But he says, I'm helping him watch kids. And I said, oh, Roy, how much do you get paid? And he goes, $2. And I go, oh, $2 an hour? And he goes, no, $2 a day. So this poor guy gave me a week's worth of wage. I cannot ever say that I've looked anybody in the eye and I've given them a week's worth of wage at their wedding reception. You must give back. You got to get involved in your state and local realtors. You must get involved. You must do something at church. You must do some kind of community service. You must do something. Equity does their charitable stuff. You must get engaged in something. I believe the guy upstairs will give you more blessings if you do some kind of service. I am 100%. But you must get involved. Number 7, make a memory. I think sometimes we all think that it's just going to be 72 degrees and sunny, and if it's not 72 degrees and sunny, we don't want to get anything done. If you think back, if everybody thinks right now and thinks the best memories you've ever made, when things probably aren't perfect. when I'm stuck up on the snowmobile mountain last night and 30 coyotes started yipping, and I'm like, you know what, I might want to look for a tree. I'm not kidding, there were 30 of them there just right over the ridge. So I thought I could take 5, but 30 were a little, I didn't think I could outrun them. You've got to make a memory in everything you do. Sometimes when I'm riding my Harley, I'm riding so fast that I forget to see all the nice sights. I go to a listing appointment the other day with Preston. Preston goes and to this appointment goes, I'm not sure on value, can I bring Kenny Parcell back? And the lady goes, yes, her name's Roxanne. First thing I do, I get out and I meet her at the front door and I go, Kenny Parcell. And you know what she says to me? She looks at me, and this is the most crazy thing, and I don't want to gross anybody out. She goes, I have gas. And I go, you have gas? And she goes, real bad gas. And I'm like, and I look at Preston and I go, bad gas? And she goes, real bad. And I'm looking at Preston and I'm like, this is the appointment you just drug me to? It wasn't, I'm named Roxanne, it's not. So for the last 3-4 days, we've been talking about the lady with bad gas. We couldn't even sell our house. You must make a memory, guys. There's memories to be made daily. I don't want to go back through that memory with that Roxanne, the lady that lives on 4 South in Spanish Fork, but we'll send that to Rod or Randy.
I'll take it.
We'll send you a referral fee. But you must make a memory in all you do. Make a memory with your clients. You want them to be loyal to you, you've got to have some kind of bond with them. Make a memory. Get to know their kids. Know what they're doing. Number 8. It's your attitude you choose. What's your attitude when things aren't perfect? It's always good to have a great attitude when money's coming in, clients are happy, but then all of a sudden something bad happens and all of a sudden the attitude can go down the toilet real quick, right? That happens all the time. We can be the highs of highs and lows of lows, right? In our business, happens all the time.
Within 10 minutes.
Within 10 minutes. Who wants more profit share in here? Everybody wants more profit share. You must have a good attitude if you want profit share. It is that simple. If you're doing a transaction with somebody else and you want them to come and join equity and get a profit share, guess what? You have to have a good attitude. If you want to sell more deals, guess what? Your clients want to deal with positive people. Because things aren't always positive in their life. They might be going through a divorce or they're losing their house. You have to be that positive person. And then what's even harder is sometimes when you give all you got during the day, guess what? You go home and you got to be positive at home too, because your kids want you to be positive. Your significant other wants you to be positive. It's not easy, is it? But I believe it's the attitude you choose. Number 9, be that person. When you walk in the room, do people notice you? And it's not because you're flash, do they notice you? You have to be that person that is positive and that's nice, that compliments. Where's Thais? Stand up for a minute. Try not to be positive and try not to be. Thais is that person. When she goes out of town, Kim's stressed. We're stressed. Everybody's stressed because you know why? Because she's that person. The person that thinks they're important, that knows they're important, thinks of others. The person that thinks they're important thinks of themselves. You got that? I tell my 12-year-old daughter all the time, I go, get your eyes off the mirror. Because all you're doing is seeing yourself. I mean, she's primming and she's propping and she's doing stuff and boys are coming over. You must, if you want to be successful in this business, be that person, take your eye off the mirror and make it about everybody else. And by making it about everybody else, it will come back to you 100-fold. Number 10, and this is your last one. Did you give your best? When your dust settles, when the dust settles at the end of the day, you can honestly say, did you win the day? Did you give your best? It is hard. I used to love to, growing up, painting or finish carpentry. Why? Because you'd start the day and you'd work and you could see what you did. How many times in real estate do we leave the end of the day and say, what the hell just happened? I didn't make any money. I got my trash kicked here. I got an angry seller there. I got a buyer that the appraisal didn't come in. Does that ever happen? Absolutely. But did you give your best? Whatever winning the day looks like for you, I have 10 things that I make sure I do daily. And if that all happens, no matter what I sold or didn't sell, that's a win for me. But did you give your best? I believe these 10 fundamental truths, if you apply it to your real estate business, to your life, to your family life, to others, you will be a success. And you won't have to worry about what closing is going to come in this week or next week, and if you're going to pay your bills. It will all take care of itself. You can begin just to live on a salary and have a bunch of money in the bank, and you'll have a whole lot better life. We got time for a couple questions, and I'm going to close up. Yes, sir.
So one of my big problems when it comes to scheduling is a fear of missing out on things at home. But I know the top producers are working like 12-hour days, 5 days a week. So I'm curious from your point of view, what can you speak towards balance of family and work when it comes to working as hard as you can versus the value you bring home by being that kind of person?
So great question. I believe, you know what, when anybody says that they don't have time, I think that's a lie. I truly think that's a lie. It's just you chose to do something else with your time. So I would look at that and say, for me, I'm a morning person. I was up at 3 today. I've had a good dear realtor friend with his 4 kids in my house for the last 5 days. They required a lot of entertaining. Guess what? So I'm just up early. I'm doing all those things in the morning that I get a lot of productive done, so then I can do what I want later. Now there's always going to be the client that only can see the house. I would pick your poison. I would say, I'm available these days and these days. And then you just know with your family, you know what? I'm going to be gone Tuesday and Thursday night. But I'm going to be home on Saturday, I'm going to be home on Sunday, you've got to control. You can make all the money in the world, but if your family life goes down the tube, it's, you know what, what's it all for? There's some kind of a balance. And sometimes there's an opportunity cost to say, you know what, I really need the closing, but I'd really like to go spend time with my kids. I'm just going to refer it out and make 25%. And I'm still money ahead, because you don't get to have to spend all the time. There's an opportunity cost for everything. But I don't think you have to work 12 hours a day. When I say work your butt off, I think work smart, get up early, get it done, get home and hang out with your family. It doesn't happen all the time, but you got to do what you got to do. There's that priority balance of opportunity cost. I don't know if I answered that well. Yes?
Yeah, one thing that's a challenge for me is managing the clients. They need contact before, they need contact after you close with them to get continued business and referrals. What CRMs have you used, and what CRM or what system do you use, whether it's CRM or not, to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks?
So that's a great question. How do you make sure everybody doesn't fall through the crack? I think it is the hardest thing to do is to go from 10 closings a year to 30 to 40. That is the hardest thing, because you can't really pay for an assistant, but you know, you can't really afford a team. You can't. It is a tough situation. We use Outlook. Believe it or not, we've tried Top Producer and we've done Wise Agent and this and that. For us, Outlook still works. It might sound old-fashioned, but we're repeat and referral. We sell 150 homes a year. I've branched out to bringing on team members that love me, that do so much for me that they never get paid. I should let them win in foosball, but I haven't. And I don't plan to, just so you know.
It's all going to change.
Well, and Eric thinks it's going to change. It's not. You know, we'll be around here after. We'll spend as much time, but it is I always feel bad for the agent that's doing 10 and wants to grow their business, because then there's an investment in a unlicensed assistant. Can you split that with somebody else? That is a tough deal, because you got to get to a certain point so you can afford to bring those people on. That's a tough one. A couple more, anybody? Yes, sir.
What would you say is your number one thing that you do to nurture past clients, to keep them coming back to you?
Question is, how do you bring back past clients? So we do 3 client appreciation parties a year. We do an Easter egg hunt, which I'd highly recommend. Piece of cake. It's easy to do, low cost, because it's donuts, it's milk, it's Easter eggs, and then we always have a raffle where each kid gets a what's it called? The little ticket. A little ticket. They write their name. They flip their name in a little bin. They get a chance to win something. That is a no-brainer. Our next one is a swim party we do. We always rent out a swimming party. The reason why I don't do movie theaters, and I think it's great if you do, you don't get the contact with the people. They're watching the movie. You get to say something right at the start, and it doesn't do much. We like the interaction with the client, taking pictures with their kids. You get an opportunity to follow up with. The last thing we do is a Santa party. That's where they come in, get a picture of Santa, they get a gift. That's where we also give our client appreciation gifts for the year. Saves us from shipping or delivering them, and that's a big one. So those are our three things. We have a newsletter every other month that goes out. We have our clients broken down to platinum, gold, bronze, and with our gold and platinum. So it takes a little while to break that out, but spend the most time with the people that are going to give you the most business. Yes, sir.
And the client gifts, do you differentiate between the quality of the client and quality of the...
Great question. So once again, this goes back to the bigger you are, sometimes the easier it is. So I buy them bulk. I buy 1,000 to 1,500 pieces. This year wasn't my idea, it was Eric's. We did some high quality measuring cups that have our name and logo on the bottom of them and a cookie sheet, a non-stick cookie sheet with our logo on it. We try to give something that's going to be in their house for 7 to 10 years, and they're going to use it often. And every time they, and we did a little recipe with it, every time they pull out the measuring cup, they're thinking about who gave it to them. They always have our number on it. We don't send anything out unless it has our logo on it with name, number, and website.
Are you a referral-based business primarily, or do you lead generate for new?
We're pretty much repeat and referral. So when you're older than Brigham Young, that's kind of what happens. So it's just worked out. But even in the day, guys, when people say, and I want to steal more time, even when I was starting out as a college kid, you know what I did? I would go to my wife's work. She started working at Novell, and I'd go to Storehouse Market, for y'all that remember Storehouse, and they'd have 5 for $1 candy bars. I'd buy $2 worth of candy bars. So I had 10 candy bars, and I'd go, and as I was walking to see my wife, I'd see somebody in their office. Hey, how are you? They'd want to talk football for a second. I'd give them a 20-cent candy bar. Oh, that's nice. Hey, what can I do for you? Hey, by the way, do you know anybody buying or selling real estate? And then they'd say, oh, I got a guy in my cul-de-sac that's a for sale buyer. How well do you know him? Well, I play basketball with him every Thursday. Oh, really? Today's Tuesday. Do you think you could talk to him on Thursday? Absolutely. Great. Then I'll come back on Friday and follow up. And so they knew I would be coming back on Friday to get that referral. I think it's human interest. If you give somebody something, they want to, it's human interest. If you go to the airport and the Hare Krishnas are there trying to give you a flower, they give you a flower, then guess what? If they get a flower, what do they have somebody down at the end? Ask them for a donation. They're more apt to give you a donation if they gave them a flower. And then what do they have? They have somebody at the very end, as those people have the flower, tossing it in the trash. They're grabbing them out of the trash, circulating them back up. But the principle is, it doesn't cost money to be nice. Everybody can afford a candy bar. Give somebody something because they're going to want to reciprocate and send you more business. But you have to have a good attitude. You have to be polite. You've got to be likable to get a referral. If you're the grumpy old realtor and they didn't have a good experience, guess what? They're not going to refer you. So there's got to be that service side. A couple more. Anybody? Yes.
Have you ever tracked down that first professor?
No, I share that story occasionally, but I have never. They left and they were on our database, and then she went to Ball State, I think San Diego State, and I kind of lost track of her. So
You should put your team on it.
So,
That'd be pretty cool.
but it changes. What's that? That's a thing called Google. Thank you, Randy. Yeah, great.
How's your team structured?
How's our team structured? So, so we have 2 office girls back at the shop that are absolutely the best team that I've ever had. I have Preston, Jeff, and Eric. They still go out and list, and I have Beth, who used to be with me way back when, and brought her back just to help manage the office. It's been a tough year. I truly don't know how many days I was gone, maybe 200. So I was gone way too much, and I was the most requested guy at NAR last year over the president or anybody else. And when you have so many friends, sometimes it's just hard to tell them no. And so these guys list and sell, and they're great, and we have a fee structure that works for us, and I truly love them, and hopefully they love me, and we all just try to help one another out. And you know what, we got to a point that there's more to life than real estate, but there's the service side. So we always want to service. If Eric's out of town, we want to service his client. We don't expect to get paid for it. We just want to service his client, make sure they get taken care of. It's easier for us to do it than the 10 to 40 transaction. I don't know how else to say it. It's just tough to be in that no man's land right now because clients want you more than they used to. You know what I mean? One more. Anybody else? Yes?
Do you have like certain office times that you let your clients know you return calls, or are you there immediately when they call you?
That's a great question. So we changed our branding about 5 years ago. That we have a centralized office number. If you look me up in this MLS, you won't find my cell phone number. You have an office number that gets called into a live body, and then the girls will text me and say, "So Brady Long called." He has my cell, so he'll go straight to me. But the girls will schedule those, and if it's a buyer call, they just pass it off to these folks, it's just by appointment. So most people get it. It's like a doctor's office. You can't just call and say, "I want to see the doctor in an hour." If they're repeat and referral business, it's a little easier. If it's a sign call or internet lead, you got to be on those a little bit quicker. So, in closing, guys, here's the thing. I love what I do. If there's anything we could ever do for you, we would be more than happy to help you. Without fail, I get 5 calls a day from equity agents. And as soon as they say equity, I take the call and I listen to them. I give you as much advice. If they call and say, "I'm from Coldwell Banker, this or that," I'll say, "You know what, I'm in an appointment, I'll have to call you back." Not that I love those guys. I'm no longer the state president. I don't feel like I have to do that anymore. If there is something we can do for you, let us know. It's important that you do well. We're in a company that's full of success. The only person that's telling you can't do something is yourself. You can make it. If you want to make $1 million this year, you can. If you want to make $100,000 and you're a full-time mom, you can do that too. I mean, it is such a great market. I believe the best time to plant a tree is 25 years ago. I think the second best time is to plant one today. And I think sometimes we all like the shade and shelter of what we have, but we want it now. We're like our kids, we want it now, but we don't think ahead enough to say, "You know what, I got to plant some seeds here. I got to plant some seeds here." So 5 years from now, you can get those benefits of that shade, shelter, and comfort. You've got to better yourself daily, so in 5 years from now, you're not worried about where the next deal's coming in. Make sense? Love you guys. Thanks for being entertained. So.